sure she was on first class, which she promised me, Mommy, I will give you first class. I wear my NYC clothes to come and greet you in your school. I want to pay for every sacrifice you have made for us. It didn't come to pass. When they started dating December 1st, 2021, she told me, Mommy, I'm into a relationship. Despite many people that asked her out, she didn't accept. Said, there's somebody I love. I said, okay, bring to the house. He brought Benjamin to the house. Ask him questions, what he do, what he does, his line of business. He opened and when he's discussing with you, he will actually give you evidences of what he's into, making you believe those are the things he was into. So that gave me a little security. If you can bring your boyfriend home, I know the boy, then you'll be secured. And the boy came, and I took him as a son.
I can't fight him. I know my God except above God. Single person that will not enter this home. No one person that will not enter this home. Benjamin belongs to the highest of court. I can't fight him. He has people backing him up in Legion.
The door slammed open with a force that shook the walls. Cordelia stepped into her daughter's high-rise apartment, her heart already heavy with dread, but nothing could prepare her for what she saw next. There, soaked in a sea of blood, was Augusta, her body broken, her life violently stolen. The smell of death gripped the air, thick and inescapable. Outside, a pristine Mercedes-Benz C300 gleamed under the sun, the birthday present that marked the beginning of Augusta's end. To the outside world, she was living the dream. But her fairy tale had a monster hiding behind the charm. Have you ever overlooked warning signs just because someone loved you out loud, with gifts, vacations, and praise? Augusta Astion did. Her life, from the outside, was pure envy, luxurious getaways, unlimited shopping sprees, and an endless stream of designer brands. Benjamin Best made sure the world saw his affection. Their Instagram feeds were a collage of couple goals. But underneath all the filters and curated perfection, a dangerous storm was brewing. When Augusta no longer bowed to his control, Benjamin did the unthinkable. He made a public confession through Instagram stories that left the nation frozen. What happens when the one who claims to love you becomes your executioner? Born on February 3, 2002, in the energetic heart of Lagos, Nigeria, Augusta Astion was the embodiment of promise. At just 21, she had already become a rising star in both academia and the digital fashion world. As a student at Leeds City University, Augusta balanced rigorous coursework with a rapidly growing online brand. Her Instagram had amassed more than 120,000 followers, people captivated by her elegance, wit, and magnetic presence. But behind the screen, she was still just a daughter with dreams, a best friend to her mother, Cordelia. They were inseparable, constantly talking about everything from fashion to love to life's next big move. Augusta wasn't just chasing attention, she was chasing legacy. She wanted a fashion empire. She wanted to uplift her family. She wanted something real. Before diving deeper, tell us where you're watching from in the comments. Because what happened to Augusta could happen anywhere. This is the chilling reality of how love, betrayal, and unseen dangers collided in a tragedy that no one saw coming. Welcome to True Crimes Venue, where we revisit cases that haunt communities long after the cameras leave. If you're new, hit subscribe and ring that bell, you won't want to miss what's next. Then, Benjamin Best entered her world. At 26, he was exactly the type of man many would fantasize about. Successful in the crypto world, confident, charismatic. He understood the language of social media, flaunting his wealth and lifestyle just as skillfully as Augusta did. His handle, Killaboy, was as flashy as his persona. When the two connected, their chemistry was immediate. It didn't take long for their online followers to become obsessed with their love story. Together, they were Lagos royalty, dripping in luxury, floating from one exotic location to the next, always smiling, always perfect. Benjamin didn't just spoil Augusta, he smothered her in luxury. Private jets to East African resorts. High-end shopping sprees in Lagos's elite fashion districts. Nights filled with champagne and flashing lights in VIP lounges. And then, the birthday surprise. A brand new Mercedes-Benz C300. The gift wasn't just grand, it was symbolic. To outsiders, it was the reward of a dream romance. But to Augusta, it would soon become the final glittering chain in a relationship built on control. Her Instagram lit up with photos of her beaming beside the car, with captions filled with gratitude. But the truth was far darker than the pixels could capture. Behind every grand gesture, there was a layer of tension. It began with small comments, questions about men who liked her posts, sarcastic jabs at her outfit choices. Benjamin disguised his jealousy as protection. "I just care about you," he'd say. "You know these guys are vultures." But soon, his questions turned into surveillance. He needed to know her whereabouts at all times. He demanded photos, location tags, proof. Friends noticed a shift. Augusta, once vibrant and social, began to withdraw. She canceled plans, made excuses, and seemed less present. Even in the middle of a party, her eyes would dart to her phone, waiting for his messages. Her world began to shrink. Her replies to friends grew shorter. Her time was no longer her own. The same man who flew her to Zanzibar was now the one demanding she delete male followers. "It's just us now," he whispered, wrapping his obsession in false intimacy. Augusta mistook it for passion, convincing herself that such intense love had to mean something deep. Meanwhile, Benjamin's empire in crypto was crumbling. Deals gone bad. Market crashes. Investor pressure. He was spiraling, and Augusta became the nearest target. If she smiled too brightly, wore something he didn't approve, or posted without telling him, he'd erupt. Explosive arguments followed by tearful apologies. Screaming replaced with gifts. One day he'd accuse her of flirting, the next day she'd wake up to diamond earrings on her pillow. It was a vicious loop. She learned to hold her breath around him, to avoid triggers. Walking on eggshells became second nature. Experts call this coercive control. A dynamic where love is used as a weapon, where luxury becomes a leash. The abused begins to feel indebted, to see the abuser's rage as part of the price of being loved. Augusta, always graceful, began to dim. Her posts grew more scripted, filled with praise for Benjamin rather than her own joy. She rarely appeared alone anymore. Even her captions changed tone, less about her ambitions, more about how grateful she was to him. Isolation soon followed. He turned her against her circle. "They're jealous," he told her. "They want to ruin what we have." Slowly, she distanced herself from the people who might have saved her. He discouraged family visits, claiming he had surprise plans. He kept her close, too close. And she accepted it, believing it was all part of love's intensity. Their final vacation photos tell a haunting story. Tropical beaches, matching outfits, drinks under palm trees. But Augusta's eyes told another tale. A quiet fatigue. A forced smile. Friends later recalled something felt off. She was quieter, almost ghost-like. But when they asked, she laughed it off. "He's just intense," she'd say. "But he loves me so much." Then, on that unthinkable day, Cordelia opened the door to her daughter's worst nightmare realized. Augusta's vibrant life was extinguished, not by a stranger, but by the man she believed adored her. And as the world tried to process the horror, Benjamin did the unthinkable again. He shared a series of cryptic, chilling posts online. Confessions that painted a portrait of delusion, rage, and heartbreak. He wanted control one last time, even in death. By July 2023, Augusta was trapped in a relationship that looked perfect from the outside but was suffocating her from within. Benjamin's confession would later reveal his twisted mindset. He felt betrayed by her desire for independence, enraged by her natural charm that attracted others, and convinced that if he couldn't control her completely, no one else could have her either. Every gift came with invisible strings attached. The Mercedes-Benz wasn't just a car, it was a symbol of ownership. The designer clothes weren't just fashion, they were a uniform for the role he'd assigned her. Augusta was living in a golden cage, and the door was about to slam shut. If you know someone in a controlling relationship, share this video. Sometimes seeing someone else's story helps us recognize our own situation. And what's the most expensive gift you've ever received? Tell us in the comments. But remember, the costliest gifts sometimes come with the highest price. The phone rang at 2:47 p.m. on that Tuesday afternoon. Cordelia Ostion answered, expecting her daughter's usual cheerful voice. Instead, she heard something that made her blood run cold. "Mom, we had a fight." Augusta's voice trembled through the receiver. "Benjamin and we argued about something, and I don't know what to do." Cordelia had heard her daughter upset before, but this was different. There was fear in Augusta's voice, raw, genuine terror that no amount of designer bags or luxury vacations could mask. "What happened? Tell me everything," Cordelia pressed, her maternal instincts firing on all cylinders. Augusta's words came in fragments. The fight had been intense. Benjamin had become someone she didn't recognize. She was scared to go home, scared to stay. The details were vague, but the emotion was crystal clear. Her daughter was in danger. "I'll call him," Cordelia promised. "Let me talk to Benjamin. We can fix this." But Augusta's response chilled her to the bone. "Mama, I don't think this can be fixed." The line went dead. For the next 48 hours, Cordelia lived in a mother's worst nightmare. Her calls to Augusta went straight to voicemail. Text messages remained unread. The silence stretched on like a void. She called Benjamin's phone dozens of times. Each ring felt like an eternity. When he finally answered on July 12th, his voice was cold, mechanical. "She's fine," he said curtly. "Just give her some space." But Cordelia knew her daughter. Augusta never went this long without contact. Not even during their worst teenage arguments had she stayed silent for more than a few hours. By July 13th, panic had fully set in. Cordelia reached out to Augusta's roommate, Peace, a young woman who had been friends with Augusta since their first year at Leeds City University. "I haven't heard from her either," Peace admitted, her own concern evident. "She was supposed to meet me for lunch yesterday, but she never showed." The two women made a decision that would change everything. They would go to Benjamin's apartment in Oral Estate, Aja. If Augusta was there, they would bring her home. If she wasn't, they didn't want to think about that possibility. Upon their arrival, the Mercedes-Benz C300 sat in the parking space like a monument to broken promises. Augusta's birthday gift gleamed under the Lego sun, looking exactly as it had when Benjamin had surprised her with it just months earlier. "Her car is here," Peace whispered, stating the obvious. "So where is she?" Cordelia approached the apartment building with legs that felt like lead. Something was wrong. Everything was wrong. The building was too quiet, too still for a Tuesday afternoon. They climbed the stairs to Benjamin's second-floor apartment. The hallway smelled of cooking spices and laundry detergent, normal, everyday scents that felt out of place in this moment of mounting dread. Cordelia knocked on the door. No answer. She knocked again, harder this time. "Benjamin, Augusta, open up." Nothing. Peace tried the handle. "But maybe they went out together," Peace suggested weakly, though neither woman believed it. "Without her car?" Cordelia's voice cracked. "Augusta would never leave her car here and go somewhere else. Never." The silence from inside the apartment was deafening. It wasn't the silence of an empty home. It was something else entirely. Something final. The Lego State Police arrived within 20 minutes of Cordelia's frantic call. Officer Adabo, a seasoned investigator with the Homicide Division, took one look at the worried mother and knew this wasn't a simple domestic dispute. "We're going to need to enter the premises," he informed the building security guard, who produced a master key with shaking hands. The lock turned with a soft click. The door swung open. The smell hit them immediately, thick, cloying, unmistakable. Officer Adabo had encountered it countless times in his 15-year career, but it never got easier. "Ma'am, I need you to step back," he commanded, gently but firmly, guiding Cordelia and Peace away from the doorway. What they found inside would make headlines across Nigeria and beyond. Augusta's body lay in the living room, her life stolen in the most brutal way imaginable. The violence was overwhelming. This wasn't a crime of passion or a moment of temporary madness. This was something far more calculated, far more vicious. Within hours, the apartment became a fortress of police tape and forensic equipment. Detective Inspector Funsho, one of Lagos State's most experienced homicide investigators, took charge of the scene. "This is a crime scene now," she announced to the gathering crowd. "Nobody enters or leaves without my permission." The evidence told a story of struggle and terror. Overturned furniture, blood spatter patterns, and defensive wounds painted a picture of Augusta's final moments. But perhaps the most chilling discovery was a handwritten note left conspicuously on the coffee table. The note would become key evidence in the case against Benjamin Best. Its contents, though not immediately released to the public, would prove instrumental in establishing premeditation and intent. By evening, news of Augusta's death had spread through Lagos like wildfire. The same social media platforms that had celebrated her luxury lifestyle now mourned her tragic end. The contrast was devastating. Just days earlier, Augusta had posted photos from a high-end restaurant, smiling and radiant. Now those same images took on a haunting quality, the final glimpses of a life cut short. Neighbors in the oral estate community struggled to process what had happened in their midst. "She was always so polite," one elderly resident told reporters. "And he seemed like such a nice young man. You never know what people are capable of." The hashtag Justice for Augusta hashtag began trending before Augusta's body had even been removed from the scene. Nigeria's social media community, particularly young women who had followed Augusta's journey, demanded answers. But Benjamin Best was nowhere to be found. But Benjamin Best wasn't done. His next move would shock the entire nation and turn him into one of Africa's most wanted fugitives. Have you ever had a gut feeling about someone that turned out to be right? Augusta's mother knew something was wrong. Trust your instincts, ladies. While Augusta's body lay decomposing in that Lagos apartment, Benjamin Best made a decision that would cement his place in Nigeria's criminal history. Instead of turning himself in, instead of showing genuine remorse, he chose to confess his crime on Instagram, turning murder into content. On July 17, 2023, Benjamin began posting a series of text stories that would be screenshot and shared millions of times across Africa. "I got into an argument with my girlfriend," he wrote, his words appearing in white text against a black background. "Which fight I mistakenly stabbed her and ran away out of fear." Mistakenly stabbed her. Those 3 words would haunt everyone who read them. You don't mistakenly stab someone. You don't mistakenly mutilate a body. You don't mistakenly destroy the person you claim to love. But Benjamin wasn't finished. Post after post continued to appear, each one more disturbing than the last. "I won't intend to end myself because I have lost the one I cherish so much," he wrote, somehow making himself the victim in his own confession. "I wanted to do the right thing and turn myself in. I will gladly die by paying with my life now." The manipulation was breathtaking. He was a man who had just committed one of the most heinous crimes Nigeria had seen, and he was asking for sympathy. He claimed the argument was about something I'd rather not say in order to protect her image and respect for the dead, as if protecting Augusta's reputation after mutilating her body was somehow noble. The most chilling part, his attempt to rewrite the violence. None of her body parts went missing, he insisted, directly contradicting police reports. Nothing was intentional. "We got into a fight, an argument, which led to her carrying a knife." Now Augusta was supposedly the aggressor. The victim was suddenly wielding the weapon. The lies were as calculated as they were cruel. Within hours, Nigeria exploded. Hashtag Justice for Augusta continued trending across Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. Screenshots of Benjamin's confessions spread faster than wildfire. Celebrities, influencers, and ordinary citizens shared their outrage. The audacity of confessing to murder on social media while painting yourself as the victim was unprecedented. Augusta's mother, Cordelia, broke her silence with a statement that shattered hearts across the nation. "My daughter is gone, and this man wants us to feel sorry for him. He took my best friend away from me and then expects sympathy." But while Nigeria raged, Benjamin Best was already gone. His Instagram posts weren't just a confession, they were a distraction. While the country focused on his words, he was busy disappearing. The cryptocurrency fortune he'd flaunted on social media was now funding his escape route. The Lagos State Police Command issued wanted notices across Nigeria. Interpol received bulletins with his photograph. Airport security heightened. Border crossings monitored. But Benjamin Best had vanished into thin air, leaving behind only his digital confession and Augusta's grieving family. The audacity of this confession left everyone speechless. If this story is making you angry, hit the like button and share your thoughts if you've ever seen someone confess to a crime on social media. Let's get justice for Augusta. Benjamin Best knew he had minutes, maybe hours, before every airport in Nigeria would have his face plastered across security monitors. The Instagram confession had sealed his fate. He was now the most wanted man in West Africa. But Benjamin had one advantage: money, and lots of it. $25,000. That's what it cost to disappear completely. Benjamin contacted underground networks that specialized in creating new identities for those willing to pay the price. Within 48 hours of Augusta's body being discovered, Benjamin Best ceased to exist on paper. Enter Kanu Princeton Samuel, a Sierra Leonean citizen with a pristine passport, clean background, and no criminal record. The transformation was meticulous. New documents, new backstory, new life. Benjamin had studied the process of identity theft for months, using his cryptocurrency connections to fund the operation through untraceable transactions. The journey to Sierra Leone wasn't direct. Benjamin traveled through multiple West African countries using cash-only transactions and avoiding major cities. He understood that his social media presence had made him recognizable, so he altered his appearance, different hairstyle, facial hair, even changing his walk and mannerisms. In Freetown, Sierra Leone's capital, Benjamin established himself as a quiet businessman. He rented a modest apartment, avoided social media entirely, and kept a low profile. The irony wasn't lost on him. The man who had lived for Instagram validation was now invisible by choice. But October 2023 brought what seemed like divine intervention for Augusta's family. A tip from an informant led Sierra Leonean authorities to a nightclub in Freetown. Benjamin had made a critical error. He attended a party where someone recognized him despite his disguise. The arrest was swift and coordinated. Sierra Leonean police, working with Nigerian authorities and Interpol, surrounded the venue. Benjamin's fake identity held up for exactly 12 hours before fingerprint analysis revealed the truth. Cordelia Ostion received the phone call she had prayed for. Her daughter's killer was in custody. The relief was overwhelming. Finally, justice seemed within reach. Nigerian authorities immediately began extradition proceedings, confident that Benjamin would face trial within weeks. Legal teams worked around the clock preparing the case. Evidence was compiled, witnesses were contacted, and court dates were scheduled. Augusta's family allowed themselves to hope that their nightmare was finally ending. November 15, 2023, changed everything. A coordinated attack on the Sierra Leonean detention facility resulted in the escape of 17 prisoners, including Benjamin Best. The security breach was catastrophic. Understaffed guards, outdated equipment, and poor communication systems created the perfect storm. Benjamin's escape wasn't random. Intelligence later revealed that he had maintained contact with criminal networks who orchestrated the breakout. The same money that bought his new identity now purchased his freedom. Cordelia's world collapsed again. The phone call from authorities delivered news that felt like losing Augusta all over again. The family's hope transformed into rage and desperation. How could a maximum security facility allow such a failure? For the next 14 months, Benjamin Best became a ghost. Intelligence reports placed him in Ghana, Ivory Coast, Burkina Faso, and Guinea. He moved constantly, never staying in one location for more than a few weeks. The cryptocurrency fortune that had funded his lavish lifestyle with Augusta now sustained his survival. Anonymous transactions funded safe houses, transportation, and continued identity changes. Benjamin had become an expert at disappearing. Interpol intensified their efforts, establishing a task force dedicated to his capture. Red notices were issued across 47 countries. His photograph was distributed to airports, borders, and law enforcement agencies worldwide. The psychological pressure was immense. Benjamin's Instagram posts during this period, from anonymous accounts, revealed a man consumed by paranoia and isolation. The social media star who once craved attention now feared recognition. By mid-2024, leads had dried up. False sightings wasted resources and manpower. International cooperation faced bureaucratic challenges as different countries struggled to coordinate efforts effectively. Augusta's family watched their hopes fade with each passing month. Cordelia aged visibly, the stress of endless waiting taking its toll. Public pressure mounted on Nigerian authorities to bring Benjamin home. For over a year, Benjamin Best vanished into thin air. Augusta's family feared he might never face justice. Then investigators got the break they've been waiting for. Do you think justice delayed is justice denied? What would you do if your loved one's killer escaped? Share your thoughts. January 2025 brought the breakthrough Augusta's family had prayed for. Intelligence agencies tracked Benjamin Best to Qatar, where he'd been living comfortably under yet another stolen identity. This time, he called himself Tay Abdul, carrying a fraudulent Guinean passport that had cost him thousands more. For months, Benjamin thought he'd outsmarted international law enforcement. He'd established a routine in Doha, frequenting upscale restaurants and maintaining the lavish lifestyle that had once impressed Augusta. But every digital footprint, every transaction, every moment of comfort was building the case against him. The breakthrough came through meticulous international cooperation. Nigerian authorities, working with Interpol and Qatari officials, had been monitoring financial transactions and social media activity. Benjamin's arrogance proved to be his weakness. He couldn't resist the spotlight entirely. The moment came swiftly. Qatari police, coordinating with international teams, surrounded Benjamin at a luxury hotel where he'd been staying. The man who once flaunted his wealth on Instagram now faced the consequences of his actions. When confronted, Benjamin attempted to maintain his false identity as Tay Abdul. He presented his fake Guinean passport with the same confidence he'd once shown Augusta's family. But technology doesn't lie. Biometric evidence, facial recognition software, and his own digital trail had already sealed his fate. The evidence was overwhelming. His fingerprints matched those on file with Nigerian authorities. His facial features, despite attempts to alter his appearance, confirmed his identity. The cryptocurrency transactions he'd used to fund his escape had left an electronic trail that investigators followed across 3 continents. Justice took its time, but it came with weight. In the spring of 2025, the walls finally closed in on Benjamin Best. After 2 long years of evasion, during which he crisscrossed borders from West Africa to the Middle East, his time had run out. Nigeria's formal extradition request had arrived in Doha swiftly, accompanied by a damning collection of evidence, legal documents, eyewitness testimonies, and the digital breadcrumbs Benjamin had arrogantly left in his wake. His Instagram confession alone was enough to dismantle any claims of innocence. His defense team tried to resist. They painted a picture of political persecution and unsafe conditions, claiming he wouldn't receive a fair trial back home. But Qatar's courts weren't moved. Benjamin, the man who once bragged about his legal smarts on social media, was no longer the puppet master of his story. The fraudulent passports, the staged disappearance, the trail of lies, and above all, Augusta's murder, left no room for escape. In April 2025, Benjamin Best boarded a plane back to Lagos. He was not alone. He was flanked by heavily armed international security operatives. No more silk shirts or private jets, just handcuffs and silence. The plane landed quietly at night, but news of his arrival lit up headlines. For the first time since that chilling July day in 2023, Augusta's mother, Cordelia, received the call she had longed for. Her voice cracked as she heard the words, "We have him." It didn't bring her daughter back, but it brought something else. A measure of justice. From the moment Benjamin stepped onto Nigerian soil, every second of his freedom was over. Lagos State Police took immediate custody. Media crews circled the airport like vultures. The man who once chased attention was now the spectacle. Cameras flashed, crowds jeered, and his carefully crafted image shattered completely. The charges he faced were not light: first-degree murder, mutilation of a corpse, and obstruction of justice. The man who had lived like a prince abroad was now reduced to a number in a cell block. By July 2025, the courtroom was ready. But nothing could prepare it for the storm that followed. Benjamin Best, once the suave crypto investor with a glossy Instagram profile, now stood in chains before the Lagos State High Court. His trial drew massive attention. Onlookers packed into the gallery daily, and outside, hundreds gathered in protest and support of Augusta's family. Inside, the atmosphere was tense. Judge Adebayo Mornike presided over the case with a visible weight in her expression. Benjamin's defense team, led by senior advocate Emma Akpala, tried a final gamble, an insanity plea. "My client was under extreme emotional distress," Akpala declared, his voice echoing across the packed courtroom. This was a moment of psychological breakdown, not murder in cold blood. But the prosecution came prepared. State prosecutor Folake Adami had built her case brick by brick. And now, she was ready to burn it down. Adami pulled no punches. She presented forensic photos of the crime scene that made some jurors avert their eyes. Blood patterns, bruises, trauma indicators. She outlined the damning timeline: Augusta's last messages, Benjamin's sudden disappearance, his social media confessions posted hours after the act. There was no room for confusion. Then came the true silence, the moment Adami read his Instagram confession aloud in court. Word for word, she recited it. "We argued. I didn't mean to. I just snapped." Each sentence was another nail in the coffin of his defense. The court heard how Benjamin had not only killed Augusta, but took time to flee, forge documents, and hide for nearly 2 years. Experts testified that his actions were deliberate and calculated, not signs of temporary insanity, but of methodical self-preservation. Cordelia's testimony cut through the courtroom like a blade. Her voice trembled, but her words were sharp. She was 21. She had just started her life. He bought her love and then took it away with a knife. He didn't just kill my daughter, he killed her future, her dreams, her peace. Every mother in the room felt the weight of those words. The court also heard how Augusta's siblings still couldn't sleep through the night. How her little cousins still asked when she was coming home. Cordelia described her own torment: the holidays without laughter, the birthdays without candles, the endless ache of an unanswered phone call. Outside the courthouse, crowds continued to gather. Justice for Augusta, posters blanketed fences. Women's rights organizations hosted vigils every week. People brought candles, photos, and flowers. Some wept openly. Others stood silently, fists raised. The city of Lagos hadn't seen a trial provoke this kind of collective grief and outrage in years. Inside, the defense tried to push back. Benjamin's mother, in a quiet and emotional testimony, asked the court for mercy. She told stories of Benjamin's difficult childhood, his mental health struggles, the collapse of his crypto business. "My son lost himself," she said, but her words rang hollow against the screams, blood, and silence of Augusta's death. The jury didn't take long. When they returned, every breath in the room seemed to hold. Benjamin stared ahead, jaw clenched. Cordelia gripped her sister's hand. The foreman stood. "On the charge of first-degree murder, we find the defendant guilty." Gasps echoed. Benjamin's shoulders dropped. The man who once flaunted power now looked like a ghost. Judge Mornike issued the sentence without hesitation: life imprisonment without parole. Cordelia wept, not from joy, but from something heavier. A storm finally passing. A wound left open, but no longer ignored. "She can finally rest," she whispered. But this wasn't the end. Augusta's death didn't just haunt a courtroom. It transformed a nation. Police departments across Lagos began revising their domestic violence protocols. Mandatory training was introduced for all officers. Social media platforms, especially Instagram, updated policies to better flag confessional or disturbing content. International agencies cited Augusta's case as a new precedent for cross-border justice. Her mother, once known only as a grieving parent, became an advocate. She now travels to schools and women's groups, sharing Augusta's story. Her message is always the same: if something feels off, it is. No love should ever silence your voice. Augusta should have turned 23 this year. She should have been planning her graduation, launching her fashion brand, perhaps even falling in love again, with someone who saw her as a partner, not a possession. Instead, her name became a movement. And as long as her story is told, as long as women recognize the red flags and act early, Augusta Ostion will never be forgotten.
I will not enter this home. Benjamin belongs to the highest of court. I can't fight him. He has people backing him up in legion. But I have the Almighty, my mommy. I promise you, God will fight for your justice. And I will never give up. That is what you know. Your mother is a lion. You know me, I'm a fighter. I will not die. You want me to be with you, but I've told you I can't be with you. I want to stay and fight for you. And my God will back me up. And we'll get it together. Happy birthday. Another person, wish her happy birthday. That is why we're here. What's it again? Happy birthday, Augusta. You want to say anything? Tell your sister happy birthday. Don't say don't say anything. Tell your sister happy birthday.
Mom, happy birthday. I love you. Remember this slippers. Remember it today and now. This is the same slippers you wore and walked into Benjamin's house. But we came to pick your cup from his house. You wore it upstairs and you never came down with these slippers. I brought it today to remind you. We love you. But don't, you are resting already. But don't relax in the spirit. Fight them. Hunt them, every one of them. Plus the one that betrayed you, your roommate. To Benjamin that killed you. Malcolm, don't rest. Fight them. God will empower you today to fight this fight. If there is any way they have tied you in this spirit, today. Lose you. In the name of Jesus. Lose yourself. You are loose today. And you will fight. I lose you. Same way Ryan saw it that we came to your tomb to wish you happy birthday. And that same day your spirit came up. And he saw Benjamin descend. I decree today that Benjamin will be lowered down to 6 feet in the name of Jesus. Amen. Unless I don't serve a living God. Unless I don't believe in God Almighty. As long as he lives, he permitted it for a reason. And I keep hanging up my hope and strength on that girl's testimony. That God must have seen something in this phone. That it's better for you to die at 21 and make heaven than for you to live 100 years and go to hell.
If you've made it this far, you already know, this isn't just a story about murder. It's a story about control, silence, and the cost of ignoring your gut. If you or someone you know is in a dangerous relationship, don't wait. Speak up. Help them leave. Augusta didn't get a second chance. Make sure someone else does. Your voice could be the key to saving a life. Augusta Ostion should be thriving today, celebrating her achievements and pursuing her dreams. Tragically, she has become a powerful symbol in the battle against domestic violence. How will you honor her legacy? Share your reflections in the comments to keep this vital conversation alive. If this story resonated with you, subscribe to True Crime Stories for more compelling narratives that touch the heart. Like this video if you stand for justice and share it to raise awareness about the warning signs of toxic relationships. You can also explore our carefully curated playlist linked in the description. Though Augusta's voice was silenced, her story continues to resonate. Let's ensure it reaches those who need to hear it. Thank you for watching. See you in our next